So it's time to get back to traveling in the times of Corona. So of course with the proper mask and social distancing, and I've come to Bayberry Adventures Heritage Walk. So we'll be going to Humayun's tomb, but before that our guide and our friend has got us here, and I'll show you how we go through the entire process of exploring a monument and also manage to follow all the coronavirus guidelines. Let's go. We began our walk from the Isa Khan ka Maqbara, but I will tell you more about that Maqbara and some other buildings inside the Humayun's tomb later in another video. But this is where the Humayun's tomb walk starts properly. This is where you first see the Humayun's tomb, and you walk through this gate, and the first visual, the first view that comes in front of you is beautiful, and you get probably one of the best pictures from here. So it was no surprise that I also decided to shoot my video from here. So this is the first look of Humayun's tomb right as you walk in from the gates. It is actually quite a great photo spot. Quite amazing. And that's the whole premises. Now, as it's written over there in the inscriptions also, this tomb was built by, or rather commissioned by, the wife of Emperor Humayun. Well, the interesting fact is that when Humayun died, he was buried in the Purana Kila. But when the Purana Kila was taken over by the Hindu king Hemu, the fleeing Mughals exhumed his body, took it away all the way to Punjab, and then about 14 years later his wife commissioned this tomb, and she hired a Persian architect and a Persian builder, and that is why you see a lot of Persian and Indian amalgamation in the architecture. It's quite interesting. You will see the Star of David also, you will see the Indian chhatris, you will see the Char Bagh layout of the gardens. It's very beautiful.
Stones transit and again do a very similar construction in terms of an arch. Okay, and look up how square transits to a dome with the corner niches, and these lotus symbols on either side, you'll find them in all details. Jalis everywhere, every opening and every balcony has these beautiful jalis, and a lot of the labor would have been spent in just chipping those, red sandstone and creating those jalis. So please note these, and of course two big main doors. Bahadur Shah Zafar and his family came and hid here, and later Captain Hodson arrested him from here. And Rahim Khan Khana, how many of you remember Rahim ke Dohe from school? So Rahim Khan Khana was one of the gems of Akbar's reign. He fell out of favor with his son Jahangir, and Jahangir actually hung to death one of his sons at Khuri Darwaza. So that was. Mughals are very fond of laying down gardens. They laid out very elaborate gardens. I mean, Kashmir, if you go Shalimar Nishad Bagh, even those gardens near Chandigarh, what you know as Yadvindra Garden, they're all step gardens. They're all created by Mughals. One of the things that they tried to do was recreate the description of heaven on earth. Okay, so we see this particular garden. It is divided into squares using these water channels, and these water channels come in. So if you take an aerial view of it, you'll find these small squares being created by these water channels. And these squares were then made into beautiful gardens and lawns and all of that. So the entire complex is nothing but full of 32 squares. Okay, and this water channel, and they used to run, because of the time when they used to run, and they used to pull water from Yamuna and bring it here with the water wheel or the Persian wheel. And just a word of caution, those stairs are slightly steep, so please be careful.
That's a steep set of stairs. My God. This is quite steep. It's not showing in the video, but this is steep. There is no shame in using the handrail.
I know there is no shame, it's just hot over here.
I'm telling you, Ashish, considering your age.
I'm loving this sibling conversation.
Let me hold my pinky finger. Kids should not be walking up this all alone.
So this is a very nice illustration of the kalamdan that we talk about. Don't step on it, please. Thank you. So this would be a man's grave. This is a kalamdan. So this would be a man's grave. And if you walk and you find the takti, it will be a woman's grave. They have made a takti here. If you see, the pattern is created. So this is a lady's grave. Okay. Sometimes this
If it's flat,
and it can have this pattern of takti, and sometimes takti itself is raised. You know, you find some graves the takti is raised. Must be a bigger box.
So they could be like husbands and wives.
These are all royal family members. Many of them are buried inside. So the closer you are inside, the closer blood relative you are to the emperor. The further you are,
The ones that are close together
could be a family. Yeah, it could be a family.
Why is this piece of
I don't know when it started, but they wanted to distinguish the man's grave from a woman's grave. So man was given again a man's grave, but slightly sunk.
good weather to come here, I would say. But it seems all the crowd from here has gone away to Sundar Nurseries because on a Sunday morning, and that too such a beautiful morning, I would have never expected Humayun's tomb to be so empty. Sundays used to be like crazy crowd here. Maybe it's Corona, I don't know. Look at that amazing sky.
Okay, and here lies the Emperor Humayun. पीछे तहखाने थे तहखाने इन्होंने एक साइड बंद कर दिए only side chambers are open all the chambers below you can't even go up there was a time you could go up many years ago you could go down
Just a query coming to my mind. These buildings normally take 10 to 15 years.
yes
Bury the body and where they keep the body.
no I think the body was brought there correct and then everything was bigger and all around the chamber there are smaller chambers you see they are the relatives and blood relatives and other royalties of the religion and all around you find this beautiful jali and it's been a bright sunny day these jalis are so beautiful pattern inside simple way in fact if you use some stone this stone is more elaborate more decorated than this and just a simple dome now this is the real dome
I was just trying to photograph this.
yeah I have and they're all government everything is on
This is the main chamber, and that's the grave. ये सारा शोशाबाजी सिर्फ इस ग्रेव के लिए है। surprisingly less ornamental than the ones outside.
Yes,
The
and
grave.
even if you go to Safdarjung stone, that's a lot more elaborate. Humayun did not have very things elaborate.
And what must be?
That must be a chandelier.
Could it be because
When
They would keep lamps lit. Yeah.
when they're very religious, then they don't want too much ornamentation also?
Strict Islam does that to you. But a lot of these people actually didn't follow those very strict tenets of Islam. In fact, Akbar went away. He created his own, Deen-e-Ilahi, his own religious system called Deen-e-Ilahi. So he went away from there. Yes. The same technique.
So we're moving from the main chamber. Let's go and see who were close to Humayun. They got special place in the tomb. So this is a empty alleyway kind of thing. Oh! There are 3 people here buried. And all 3 graves are male graves, which we saw earlier. You can recognize from the pattern, that pattern. If this is raised and then those symbols are there, this is a male grave. Okay, come in. There are too many rooms to get lost in.
बिटिया की चिंता करते हैं वो बंदा घर में खराब
Barazanis all over, and the royal families could come and relax and take it easy. So there is flowing water, there are gardens, and there are very elaborate descriptions of gardens here, flowers and fruits and all of that. So it must have been a very, very beautiful place. Okay, so those are the Barazanis, and you can see the water cascading everywhere. We'll now go to Naika tomb, barber's tomb. Must have been some very important barber. So he and his wife, Barber and Mrs. Barber, the sort of Mr. again. So somebody significant now. They did not create a very elaborate mihrab, but they made a little mihrab on the jali. Okay, so that's the little mihrab on the jali.
But they thought of it.
They thought of it because every tomb needs a place to pray. So typically you come in, you pay your respects to him, and you turn towards the center and pray. And what you notice here are, when you come in, these are lotus bud patterns. The lotus bud patterns.
Sorry, what did you call this?
Itradan.
Dal, if you
Beautiful medallions up there, you can't see very clearly, but they were blue and white medallions.
scented water could toss on it. What will be speciality here?
Sir, because they did not make a complete mihrab,
Okay.
they just made this so that they can face this and pray towards mihrab. So it was a kind of makeshift mihrab. almost same amount of walk still left. So please get some water, recharge.
Awesome. So here you
No,
get
no,
the
please
dome
go
and
ahead.
the trees
I'm
and
taking people in my.
I have close to two by Lucy Peck, Delhi 1000 Years of Building. She also has one on Agra. A very comprehensive book about any construction historical that you find in Delhi, including the modern ones. So this is a great book if you want to research. And this is a book by Ibrahim Early called The Age of Wrath. This is medieval times, the Sultanate period. He has written a few more books. One of them is called The Emperors of the Peacock Throne. Those are all about Mughal. So that's good Mughal history. Any outsider, or mostly the British and the Europeans would come here.
So it gets republished?
Yes, yes.
Again and
I'll just. So the first publication in 1918,
Yeah.
then 1997 is the next publication.
All about Delhi.
All about Delhi.
The
yeah.
lonely planet of the Britishers.
Of the British Times, yeah. This is a local historian,
Rana.
Rana Safwi. She lives in Noida. You can even talk to her.
This is a new book.
This is a new book, her latest book.
Latest book.
But there are a few other books of when she writes about Shahjahanabad, where you can get a lot of such history.
As always, it has been a delightful walk and a wonderful Sunday morning. A wonderful way to start one's day.
And the rain gods also help.
Yeah. The weather has been perfect.
Whether
Very lucky.
no sun, no rain.
It's raining heavily in Shakravia.
So that was an interesting walk. We must have walked around a couple of kilometers, like probably 1 or 2 kilometers. I'm not too sure. But it's not a very difficult walk. Anybody with no ailments can do it. If you have a problem in walking, then you might face a little bit of difficulty. But otherwise, anybody normal, you don't need to be super fit. You can walk it. And I feel the weather is good, and moreover I think the footfall has reduced, so the number of people coming in has reduced, so you get the chance to roam about freely, get pictures without people blocking your good view. So probably it's a good time to step out, but do remember, always wear your mask, maintain distance, and I have my sanitizer, I'll use that. Keep cleaning your hands.